It's finally happening. Something is shifting. Something you have been praying for, something you have been waiting for, something you stopped believing would ever actually happen is about to move. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. When God is about to give you something big, when God is about to elevate you, when God is about to shift your entire reality, things get intense. The spiritual warfare increases, the attacks intensify, the people around you start acting strange. Your mind starts playing tricks on you, your emotions go all over the place. And if you do not understand what is happening, if you do not recognize this as the sign that your breakthrough is coming, you will think something is wrong. You will think you are going backwards. You will think God forgot about you, but that is not what is happening. What is happening is preparation. What is happening is the enemy panicking. What is happening is the final stretch before the blessing drops. Right now is a critical season in that process. Right now is the season to recognize what is actually happening. Right now is the season to hold your position. Right now is the season to stay steady, stay focused, and let God finish what He started. So if you are watching this, I need you to pay attention. I need you to listen closely, because what I am about to tell you is going to explain everything you have been experiencing, everything you have been feeling, everything that has been happening around you that does not make sense. And once you understand it, once you see it clearly, you will stop doubting, you will stop panicking, you will stop questioning whether God is really moving, and you will hold your position until the blessing lands. Now let me tell you what God is about to give you, because you need to know what you are holding space for. You need to know what all of the spiritual warfare is actually about. God is about to give you elevation, not a small step up, not a minor improvement. Elevation. A complete shift in your position, a complete shift in how people see you, a complete shift in what is available to you. You are about to move from one level to a completely different level, and when that happens, everything changes. The people you have access to change. The opportunities you have access to change. The resources you have access to change. Your entire reality changes. And the reason the spiritual warfare feels so intense right now is because the enemy senses what is coming. He senses that once you get elevated, he loses access to you. He loses influence over you. He loses the ability to keep you stuck where you have been. So he is throwing distractions at you, attacks, lies, manipulation, people he can use, trying to knock you off course before the elevation happens, because once it happens, it is too late. And let me be specific about what elevation looks like in practical terms, because I do not want you thinking elevation is just a nice spiritual concept. Elevation is real. Elevation is tangible. Elevation changes your actual life. When you get elevated, doors that were closed to you suddenly open. Rooms you could not get into suddenly invite you in. Conversations you were excluded from suddenly include you. Opportunities that passed you by suddenly come looking for you. And it is not because you got better at networking. It is not because you got smarter. It is not because you worked harder. It is because God elevated you. He changes how people see you. He changes your positioning. And suddenly you have access you did not have before. Here is what you need to understand about elevation. It does not just benefit you. Elevation benefits everyone connected to you. When you get elevated, your family gets elevated. Your children get access they would not have had. Your spouse gets opportunities they would not have gotten. The people who believed in you get to see it pay off. Your true friends get blessed just by being near you, because elevation is not selfish. Elevation is generational. Elevation ripples out. So that is the first thing God is about to give you, elevation, a complete shift in your position, and it is coming soon. The second thing God is about to give you is vindication, and this one is big because you have been misunderstood. You have been misjudged. You have been accused of things that are not true. You have been blamed for things that were not your fault. You have been painted as the problem when you were actually the solution. And it has been painful. It has been isolating. It has been exhausting to carry that weight, to know the truth but watch people believe lies about you. But God is about to bring the truth to light. God is about to show in His own timing and His own way exactly who you really are. Not through you fighting every battle yourself, but through the truth simply becoming undeniable over time. And when that happens, when the truth surfaces, the people who doubted you will see it plainly. The people who judged you will have to reckon with it. And you will not have had to exhaust yourself proving anything. Let me tell you how God tends to vindicate. Because God does not vindicate the way people vindicate. People argue, people debate, people try to convince. But when God vindicates, he reveals. He brings to light what was hidden in his own time. Maybe he vindicates you by blessing you visibly in a season when others doubted you. Maybe by exposing patterns that were once hidden. Maybe by giving you the very thing someone said you did not deserve. Maybe by opening a door in a conversation you were not even part of. However it happens, in time it becomes clear. So that is the second thing God is about to give you. Vindication, your character defended, the truth revealed in due season. The third thing God is about to give you is provision. And I am not talking about just enough to get by. I am talking about abundance. I am talking about more than you expected, more than you even asked for, because God has been watching you work hard and get very little return. God has been watching you sow seed after seed with no visible harvest. God has been watching you give and give with nothing seeming to come back. And none of that has gone unnoticed. Now provision is being released in its proper time in a way you can actually steward. When it comes, it may feel almost overwhelming, like more than you expected. But this is not about you earning it through striving. This is God restoring what the years took, making up ground, evening things out. Here is what overflow looks like practically. Overflow means bills you were worried about get paid. Overflow means opportunities show up that solve problems you were stressed about. Overflow means help arrives from places you did not expect. Overflow means you have enough for yourself and enough left over to bless someone else. Overflow means you move out of survival mode into abundance mode. Overflow means the financial anxiety that has been draining you starts to lift. This provision is not a reward for perfection. It is coming because you are becoming ready to steward it well, to use it for good instead of letting it use you. So that is the third thing God is about to give you. Provision, abundance, more than enough in his timing. The fourth thing God is about to give you is clarity. You have been needing this because you have been confused, uncertain, stuck in a fog. You did not know which direction to go. You did not know what decision to make. You did not know who to trust. That confusion has been paralyzing. It has made you doubt yourself and doubt God, but the fog is lifting. Clarity about your direction, your purpose, your next steps, about the people around you, about what is real and what is not, is coming into focus. And when that clarity lands, you will be able to move with confidence. You will be able to make decisions without the constant second-guessing. Clarity does not just help you make better choices. Clarity brings peace because confusion breeds anxiety and clarity dissolves it. Here is how you will know clarity has come. You will notice one morning that something confusing yesterday feels obvious today. A decision you were agonizing over will suddenly feel simple. A direction you were unsure about will suddenly feel right, and you will not be able to fully explain how you know. You will just know. That is clarity settling in. So that is the fourth thing God is about to give you. Clear vision, clear direction, a settled knowing. And the fifth thing God is about to give you is protection. Not protection that makes you reckless, but protection that gives you peace even in seasons that feel uncertain. Right now you may feel exposed, like every attack lands, like your peace keeps getting interrupted. That is shifting. A covering is forming around you, the kind that steadies you even when circumstances around you are still shaking. Protection does not always mean nothing hard ever touches you. Sometimes it means you walk through hard things and come out with your peace, your character, and your faith still intact when it should have broken you. It means plans against you lose their force over time. It means you are guarded in ways you may not even fully see. So that is the fifth thing God is about to give you, a covering, a steadiness, elevation, vindication, provision, clarity, protection. All five are coming, not one or two, all five in their proper order, in their proper time. Now let me talk about the season you are in right now, because how you carry yourself in this season matters. This is often a testing season. Not everyone who prays for elevation is instantly ready to be elevated. Not everyone who asks for provision is instantly ready to steward it well. God knows this. And so before the big things land, there is often a stretch where your character, your patience, and your faith are being formed to match what is coming. If he gave you the blessing before you were ready for it, it could overwhelm you instead of strengthen you. So this season of waiting is not punishment, it is preparation. Part of that preparation shows up in ordinary moments. Someone may say something that stings, a situation may try to pull a reaction out of you, and how you respond matters more than you realize. If you meet every provocation with an equal reaction, if you spend your energy defending every accusation, explaining yourself to everyone, proving yourself over and over, you will find yourself exhausted and still not at peace. That does not mean you never speak up for yourself when it truly matters, especially if you are in a situation where your safety or well-being is genuinely at risk. Wisdom always says protect yourself and seek help when you need it. But for the ordinary friction of daily life, the small provocations that are not actually threats, there is real strength in choosing your battles, staying anchored and not letting every moment steal your peace. That steadiness, more than any single victory in an argument, is what positions you for what is coming. Understand something about spiritual warfare. It is not only dramatic, often it is subtle. It shows up as irritation, as impatience, as the temptation to give up right before a breakthrough. The enemy cannot ultimately stop what God has decided to do in your life, but he can try to get you to delay it yourself by getting you to react instead of respond, to rush instead of trust, to give up instead of holding on a little longer. So when you feel provoked, when you feel the pull to spiral, recognize it for what it is and choose steadiness. Choose peace where you can, stay in position, stay focused, and let God work in the ways only God can. Here is what tends to happen in seasons like this. In the near future, expect real, tangible movement, something that shifts in a way that confirms what has been shifting quietly underneath the surface. It might be a conversation, it might be an opportunity, it might be a door opening or a door closing that turns out to be a mercy. It might be information coming to light, it might be a breakthrough in your finances or simply clarity about your next step. Whatever it is, when you see it, do not talk yourself out of it. Receive it, acknowledge it, give thanks for it, because this is what you have been holding your position for. And after that first sign of movement, more tends to follow, because blessings often arrive in seasons rather than as single isolated events. Once the first shift lands, momentum tends to build. So in the coming days and weeks, watch for movement, watch for confirmation, watch for things beginning to shift in your favor. And when they do, stay humble, stay grateful, stay prayerful, because how you steward the first blessing often shapes whether more blessings follow. Now I want to speak to the frustration some of you are feeling. Some of you feel like you have been waiting too long, like the breakthrough should have come already, like you have done everything right and nothing has changed yet. That frustration is valid. That exhaustion is real. But the delay was not because you were forgotten. It was not because you did something wrong. Often, delay is simply the space where something larger than what you originally asked for is being put together behind the scenes, in ways you cannot yet see. And that waiting season, as hard as it has been, has likely done real work in you. It may have shown you who was genuinely with you and who was not. It may have deepened your faith, forcing you to trust even when you could not see results. It may have humbled you in ways that will actually protect you later. It may have refined what matters to you. None of that is wasted time. It is formation. And formation is what allows you to receive something big without it destabilizing you. Big blessings require a settled character to carry them well. So if the timing has felt slow, consider that the delay may have been less about punishment and more about preparation, so that when the blessing comes, you are able to hold it with steadiness instead of being overwhelmed by it. Let me offer a few things worth being mindful of in this season. First, be careful about over-defending yourself in every minor conflict. Save your energy for what truly matters and let some things simply pass. Second, notice the difference between healthy solitude and bitter isolation. Healthy solitude is stepping back to protect your peace, to pray, to think clearly. Bitter isolation is withdrawing because you are angry at people, at God, or at your circumstances. One strengthens you, the other slowly wears you down. If you need space, take it, but take it to heal, not to stew. Third, be careful about comparing your timeline to someone else's. Watching other people experience breakthroughs while you are still waiting can quietly turn into envy or doubt if you are not careful. But their journey is not your journey, and their timing is not your timing. Fourth, avoid making major, life-altering decisions purely out of frustration or exhaustion. Decisions made in a low moment are often decisions people come to regret. When possible, wait until you have a measure of peace and clarity before making a big move. And fifth, be thoughtful about who you share your deepest process with. Not everyone needs the full story, and that is not about secrecy or isolation. It is simply wisdom about protecting something sacred and unfinished. At the same time, do keep trusted people in your life, mentors, close friends, a pastor or counselor, people who can offer real perspective and support. This season is not meant to be walked entirely alone. I want to slow down for a moment and talk about the emotional weight that often comes with this kind of waiting season, because it is real and it deserves to be acknowledged rather than rushed past. There is a specific kind of tiredness that comes from hoping for a long time. It is different from ordinary tiredness. It is the tiredness of having believed for something, watched it not arrive on the timeline you expected, and had to keep believing anyway. That kind of tiredness can make you question whether you heard God correctly in the first place. It can make you wonder if you missed something or if the promise was ever real to begin with. If that is where you are right now, you are not failing. You are simply in the part of the story that rarely gets talked about, the long middle section between the promise and the fulfillment. Almost every account of faith in Scripture has that middle section. The promise comes early, the fulfillment comes late. And in between is years, sometimes decades, of ordinary life, ordinary faithfulness, ordinary waiting. That middle season is not a sign that the promise failed. It is simply the space where the promise is being formed into something that can actually last. It also helps to remember that seasons of waiting are rarely as empty as they feel from the inside. From where you stand, it can look like nothing is happening, but growth is often invisible while it is occurring. A seed does not visibly change for weeks before it breaks the surface, yet the most important part of its growth, the part underground, is happening the entire time. Your character, your patience, your capacity to hold something valuable without letting it define you, these things grow the same way, quietly, underground, without much to show for it until suddenly there is. Let me also speak briefly to what steadiness actually looks like day to day, because it is easy to talk about staying peaceful and much harder to practice it when life is genuinely difficult. Steadiness is not the absence of frustration. It is not pretending everything is fine when it is not. Steadiness is choosing, again and again, in small moments, not to let a hard day convince you that the whole story is over. It looks like getting through a difficult conversation without abandoning your values. It looks like praying even when the prayer feels repetitive or unanswered. It looks like showing up to your responsibilities on an ordinary day, even when nothing about your circumstances has changed. None of that is glamorous. None of it will make a highlight reel, but it is very often the exact material that seasons of breakthrough are built from. If you find yourself doubting whether any of this applies to you specifically, that doubt itself is common in this kind of season. It is easy to hear a message like this and think, this is probably true for other people, but my situation is more complicated. My waiting has gone on too long, my circumstances are too far gone. But complexity and length of delay are not evidence that something has been abandoned. Some of the most significant turnarounds happen after the longest and most complicated waiting periods, not despite the difficulty, but partly because of what the difficulty built in the person going through it. There is also something worth saying about gratitude in the waiting. Gratitude does not require pretending the hard parts do not exist. It simply means choosing to notice what is already good, even while other things are still unresolved. This might be as simple as being thankful for a roof over your head, for people who still show up for you, for a body that still gets you through the day, for small moments of peace in the middle of a hard week. Practicing gratitude in the waiting does something practical. It keeps your perspective from narrowing entirely around what is missing, and it keeps space open in your heart to actually notice the good things when they start to arrive, instead of being so focused on what has not happened yet that you miss what has. If it is helpful, here is a simple way to hold this season. Instead of asking, when will this finally happen, try asking, what is being built in me while I wait? Instead of measuring the season only by what has not yet arrived, look for what has already changed in how you carry yourself, how you handle stress, how you relate to people, how you pray. Those changes are often the clearest evidence that something real is happening beneath the surface, even before anything visible shows up on the outside. If you have made it this far, consider this. Whatever you have been praying for, whatever has felt delayed, whatever has felt uncertain, none of it means you have been forgotten. Seasons that feel heavy are often the ones doing the most quiet work. The intensity you may be feeling right now, the friction, the waiting, the small tests of patience, these are not necessarily signs that something is wrong. They can be signs that something is being formed: elevation, vindication, provision, clarity, protection. These themes show up again and again in seasons of growth, not because they are magic words, but because they describe what steady faith, patience, and character tend to produce over time. So here is what this season may be asking of you: stay steady. Protect your peace where you reasonably can. Keep people you trust close rather than pulling away from everyone. Make big decisions from a place of calm rather than panic. Give the process time. And keep showing up in prayer, in patience, in ordinary faithfulness, even when nothing dramatic seems to be happening. Seasons like this tend to turn, often quietly at first and then all at once. Watch for it, stay grounded while you wait for it, and when it comes, receive it with gratitude rather than surprise. Let me say one more thing about how this season tends to change your relationships, because it is worth being prepared for. As you grow steadier, as you stop reacting to every provocation, as you start protecting your peace more intentionally, not everyone around you will understand the shift. Some people got used to a version of you that reacted quickly, that could be pulled into conflict easily, that would defend itself loudly whenever challenged. When that version of you starts to settle, some relationships settle with you, and others get strained, simply because the dynamic that used to hold them together is no longer there. This is not something to fear. It is often a sign of real growth. Not every relationship is meant to survive every season, and that is not a tragedy. It is simply part of moving forward. The people who are meant to walk with you into what is coming will adjust. The ones who were only comfortable with an earlier version of you may fall away naturally, without any dramatic confrontation required. It is also worth saying that growth in this season rarely feels like a straight line. You may feel steady for a week, and then have a day where old patterns show up again, where you react instead of respond, where frustration gets the better of you. That is not evidence that nothing has changed. Growth in character is rarely linear. It tends to move forward with setbacks along the way, and the setbacks themselves are often part of how the growth becomes permanent rather than superficial. So if you have a hard day after a season of feeling steady, do not conclude that you have lost ground. Simply return to the practices that have been helping you: prayer, rest, honest conversation with people you trust, and keep moving forward from there. And if you want a simple way to carry this with you, try this small prayer in your own words. God, I do not fully understand this season, but I trust that you have not forgotten me. Help me stay steady while I wait. Help me guard my peace without shutting people out. Help me grow into whatever you are preparing me to carry. And when the moment comes, help me recognize it and receive it with gratitude instead of fear. Amen. You do not need perfect faith to keep going. You just need enough faith for today, enough to get through the next conversation with steadiness, enough to pray one more time, even if it feels repetitive, enough to trust that the quiet, ordinary faithfulness you are practicing right now is not wasted, even when you cannot yet see where it is leading. Seasons like this rarely announce themselves clearly while you are in the middle of them. Usually, you only recognize them in hindsight, once the breakthrough has come, and you can look back and see how each small, unremarkable act of patience was actually part of getting you there. So wherever you are in your own story right now, whatever you are waiting on, whatever has felt delayed or uncertain, let this be a small reminder that the waiting is not empty, and it is not permanent. Keep showing up. Keep praying. Keep the people you trust close. Keep your eyes open for the small signs of movement, because they tend to arrive quietly before anything dramatic happens. If this message spoke to something you have been carrying, feel free to share where you are in your own journey in the comments. I read them, and if messages like this help you, consider subscribing because there is more encouragement like this coming. Stay steady, stay grounded, and stay hopeful. Something is shifting, and it is worth holding your peace a little longer to see it through.